Greetings and welcome to Cultivate and Nourish. I'm Kelly Damewood, CEO of Ccof, and it's my pleasure to be your host for today's events. Let's begin with a moment of gratitude. Your generosity makes this event and all our education programs at Ccof possible. A very special thank you to the visionary donors of the Csuf Foundation, Anheuser-Busch, Patagonia, Sustainable Futures Fund, Driscoll's, Cal Organic, and Organic Valley. Your financial support makes our education programs possible. Thank you for believing in our mission, sharing our values, and being in partnership as we cultivate and nourish the next generation of organic producers. Every time I express gratitude, I feel a sense of nourishment, and that's why we're here today. Our intention is to nourish the collective community. We've all been through a lot. I have, Ccof has, I know you have too, and we have more bumps yet ahead to navigate together. So let's use this valuable time to reconnect, recharge, refuel, rekindle that passion that brings so many of us to this work. The best way we know how to nourish ourselves at Ccof is a good meal. Some home cooking with friends, a family recipe, and of course, some deep conversation about justice and change. Later in the event, I'll be introducing our keynote, David Antonio Robles, who will be sharing some delicious enchiladas and his vision for the future of organic. I know that you will walk away after our talk with David feeling that hope, that optimism, that contagious energy and empowerment that it will take to sustain and advance organic agriculture for a healthy world. We've had our moment of gratitude, we've set our intention to nourish ourselves. I think we're ready to dig in. We're gonna begin Cultivate and Nourish withCcof's annual meeting. This is a custom where we gather, reflect on the year behind, and take a peek into the year ahead, followed by an open question and answer forum. To start the Ccof annual meeting, I'd like to introduce organic farmer, steadfast organic advocate and champion, someone who I know firsthand cares deeply about the future of Ccof and our community. I'd like to welcome Ccof Board Chair, Phil LaRocca.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank everyone out there who is taking time out of their schedule to attend our annual meeting. I've been involved with Ccof now for over 4 decades, and the annual meeting has been part of my process of being a member of Ccof. And in the past, every chapter sponsored the annual meeting. So we've had annual meetings in barns, on farms. We've had annual meetings on cruise ships, believe it or not. The last couple of years, we've had them held at Sacramento, where we actually combined it with a lobbying day at the state capitol. This is different. This is a first for me. I am not a really computer savvy guy, so I have some people I want to thank. Austin Lewis and Peter Nell for holding my hand and walking me through all these Zoom calls that I have been on for the last several months. I also want to start by thanking Kelly Damewood, April Crittenden, and Jesse Parr for their work of keeping this together. I also want to thank all my board members from all the boards, our Inc. board, our LLC board, and our foundation board for also holding it together, doing meetings by Zoom, taking time out of their schedule, and I thank all you organic farmers out there and organic processors for hanging in there. We've got to hang in there. We will get through this. Back in March, Kelly called me and said, "What are we going to do? This is going crazy." I go, "Yes, this is crazy." So we shut the office down. We sent staff to work from their homes. After several calls and figuring this out, we decided, yes, we got to close the office. We have to put staff working out of their homes. And we're still in communication, and Kelly is saying, "Phil, it's working. We got it going. We're happening." And then, boom, both the Santa Cruz area and for the second time in 3 years, where I live, we're hampered by wildfires. So all of a sudden, we got to rebuild again and go, okay, where do we go from here? Several of our staff lost their homes. A lot of them were evacuated. I was evacuated again for a while. had to come back. We had phone lines burnt down. But I think to be in the organic industry, you need to be resilient. We were resilient and we came back, and here we are today, hanging in there and doing our best. And it's all we can do, but we will get out of this. So when we resumed, as normal as we can resume, the board set up a committee of board members from all three of our boards and staff from all three of our different boards, Inc., LLC, Foundation, and Kelly had come back saying we need to revise our goals and mission statement and set a future plan going into 2026. So we came up with a short little concept that I'm just going to share with you now, which will be taken to the board tomorrow for our board meeting, and the board will vote on. Again, this is an extremely brief synopsis. A lot of our talk had to deal with the idea of equity and the future of CCOF. So basically, we came up with a CCOF will be recognized as the beacon and champion of organic integrity in the evolution of organic food and agriculture. Again, just a brief synopsis. We are going to examine this with the concept of equity tied to it, and the board will vote and accept, and then you as all members will see what our results are. Okay, how are we doing? One way of judging an organization is our finances. So our finances are good, not great, but good. And so I don't want to discourage anybody because they are very good. When I say not great, I mean that because a lot of our growth and being in the red was because a lot of our expenses are down. Obviously, through the pandemic, things have changed. But we're both staff and board are keeping an eye on this, and I think we're going to come through with this quite well. LLC, again, mentioned earlier, tip of the hat to April Crittenden running the LLC Management Committee. 96% of all inspections for 2020 were completed during the year, which is really quite an accomplishment. Having to do some things online, in-person inspections were not that easy, but we got them done. The only thing we have noticed that, again, we will keep an eye on is new apps are as low as we've ever seen them. Again, I think we can look directly at both the pandemic and the fires. For example, in my neighborhood, several of my close friends, long organic farmers, were burnt out, including my kids who are running my operation now. Third, the foundation. Foundation, in a time like this, to go out and ask for money is not the easiest thing to do, but they went out and did it. Jessie and her staff went out and did it, and we raised almost $88,000. Back a few years ago, we decided, the board of the foundation, that we should, besides giving grants and scholarships to future organic farmers, that farmers that are in need would need our help. So we came up with the Brickmount Foundation, which gives certified organic farmers, you do not have to be CCOF certified, but you do need to be a certified organic farmer, some money to help you through crisis times. And we were able to give $88,000 to farmers in farms that were in need. And there's a little, it used to be health food store, organic food store now, I guess we call them, that always had a saying, it's local, and his motto was locals supporting locals. And this is a true case where locals supported locals. Organic farmers supported other organic farmers. I have a list of chapters that gave money. We received over $20,000 from various chapters. I'm going to miss some here. Sierra Gold, North Valley, Humboldt Trinity, which was the winner with $7,000. Our processor chapter, Fresno Tulare, and forgive me if I'm missing somebody else. Our Sonoma County Trav North Coast chapter as well. And if I'm missing somebody, please excuse me. But we came together, chapters came together, organic farmers, organic processors came together to help each other out. And it was, that in itself just warmed all of our hearts. So we're doing good as an organization. We're moving forward, and I can only say we've got to keep this whole thing together because we will come through, get over this, and we will be as strong as ever before. So thank you, and I'm going to turn the camera, I guess, back over to Kelly. Thank you again. Oh, well, excuse me, I forgot. As part of our annual meeting, I'm a people person, so talking to a camera is not the easiest thing for me. These Zoom calls absolutely drive me nuts, and that's why Austin cringed when I said his name, but believe me, without these guys helping me, and just last week I was on 3 Zoom calls, and without this guy, I would absolutely be lost. So I'm talking to the camera, and I forgot that one of the very important things that we do at every annual meeting, and that is to introduce all the board members from the 3 separate organizations. Normally, it's an in-person meeting. We ask everybody to stand up. So when I finish done, stand up and everybody applaud these people because they give up a lot of their life to come to meetings, to come with ideas, to sit on various committees off the meetings, and nobody gets paid. There are times when people go to meetings that, as farmers, we actually lose money by attending some of the chapter events or state events that we have to go to. Anyway, our Inc. Board of Directors at large, and this is the at large, we have just added this a couple years ago. Since we're not just certifying in California anymore, we put together an at-large chapter, and that is Nadine Lou Basil from Sauter Vineyards and Mineral Springs Ranch. Representing the Big Valley, Chad Crivelli of Live Oak Dairy. Central Coast, longtime CCOF member Grant Bryans, Heirloom Organic Gardens. Fresno Tulare, Steve Cardoza, Dwayne A. Cardoza, Steve's second generation CCOF member. Humboldt Trinity Mendocino, Ted Vivison from the Eel River Brewing Company, the first organic beer. From Kern County, longtime board member Malcolm Ricky, Boltas Farms. In Mexico, Esteban Padilla from Grupo U. North Coast, Guinevere Alvarez from Traditional Medicinals. North Valley, Phil LaRocca from LaRocca Vineyards. Processor handler, Nikki Hughes, Lundberg Family Farms. Pacific Southwest, Karen Archiplay, Archie's Acres. South Coast, Liz Niles, Wise Ranch. Sierra Gold, Rich Friera, longtime CCO board member. Side Hill Citrus Packing. San Luis Obispo, Junta Thorner, Manzanita Manor Organics. And from Yolo County, our treasurer, Thaddeus Barsotti from Cape Organics. Our CCOF LLC Management Committee is part of our certification. CEO Kelly Damewood. Yannicka De Jong from Bonanza View Dairy. Charles Fowler Ranch. Charlie is a retired farmer and retired board member. Tom Willie, T&D Willie Farms, also retired organic farmer, also retired old-time board member. Brad Samuelson from Corrigan, also old board member. Our CCOF Board of Trustees for the foundation. Kelly Damewood, Karen Archiplay, again Archie's Acres, Alan Hawthorne, Harper's Organic, Phil LaRocca, LaRocca Vineyards, Malcolm Ricky, Boltars Farms. Our 2 new members, Jess Newman from McCain Foods and Yannicka Yaganath from the 11th Hour Project. I welcome all these people. This will be their first board meeting tomorrow. I welcome all of you to a great organization. So think organic. And one last word before I leave again. My heartfelt feelings go out to Amigo Bob, all his friends and family. Amigo was a friend of mine and a true believer in the organic industry and a true pioneer. Never forget this man. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for that update. I think the one chapter we may have missed was the processor chapter. Thank you, organic processors and all the chapters for the support. So if you're just tuning in, this is the annual meeting portion of Cultivate and Nourish. This is a time when we take a look at the year behind and a peek into the year ahead. So the year behind, 2020 was eventful, to say the least, especially when it came to our certification services. From the pandemic to wildfires that hit far too close to home, to the emotional reality of a long overdue racial justice reckoning, I would say that we're feeling a little bit raw. But this has also been by far the most rewarding year of my career at CCOF, because it's been incredibly humbling to watch our community come together. At any given time, we're down 4 to 5 certification staff as they cover Zoom school and care for their loved ones. But folks are putting in the extra odd hours, covering for each other, and doing the best we can to maintain the service that our members depend on. I know some certifiers actually had to stop accepting new clients because of capacity, but we were able to make the decision early on that if a producer was ready to make the jump to organic in 2020, we wanted to be there to catch them, and we were still able to welcome over 450 new clients to the CCOF family. And of course, a very special thank you to our team of organic inspectors who pivoted quickly to conduct virtual audits or, when necessary, on-site audits with safety precautions. And thank you to all of our certified producers who showed us grace as we adjusted to this new way of doing business. And I have to add that it's been truly a privilege to watch how our producers have pivoted their businesses, protected their employees, and gone above and beyond to meet the demand for organic foods. It really feels humbling to be a small part of the collective effort to sustain a healthy organic food supply at a time when people need it most. So it's been a big year, but as we look ahead, we have some exciting new certification services in the works. We are actually looking into offering organic cannabis certification. Our board will be discussing organic cannabis certification tomorrow. California has created a state-level certification program, and we as CCOF see an incredible opportunity to bring the integrity and service that we have brought to every other crop in the state of California to cannabis producers, and to welcome a whole new family of farmers into the organic community. Additionally, we are interested in exploring social justice certifications. Like you, we need to do our part to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive organic food system. Our expertise, the gift we give back to the world, is certification, bringing integrity, accountability, and transparency to the consumer. So we suspect we could have a great role to play in highlighting and showcasing the fair labor practices of organic producers with the new certification. So stay tuned, keep us informed. Your feedback really helps us navigate and understand what serves you best. Okay, so I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. We've covered certification. I wanna talk a little bit about our policy and advocacy work. This time last year, we were actually all on the steps of the California State Capitol getting ready to advocate for organic and meet face-to-face in person with our elected representatives. I am so grateful we had that foundation of connection to build off of. And as we head into 2021, we are rearing to go as we implement our Roadmap to an Organic California. Roadmap to an Organic California is an initiative where we are trying to move the needle on the amount of land farmed organically. We want to get to at least 30% organic farmland in California by 2030. Our first 2 campaigns to support this effort include bringing organic food to schools and helping our local regional livestock producers. Now, this is a very California-focused campaign. That's where our expertise is. But these policies, this work, absolutely extends beyond state lines. And in fact, our key partner, the Organic Trade Association, the leading voice for organic in Washington, D.C., the Organic Trade Association is helping step up and bring together state-level advocates so that we can better coordinate and strategize how to use state policy and resources to advance organic. So thank you, Organic Trade Association, for your leadership in helping advance organic, both at the federal and state levels. So my last update for you is about the Csuf Foundation. All our education programs are made possible in the foundation by our broad network of financial supporters. We have one program in particular that I really want to highlight for you today. That's our Organic Transition Program. Now, if you're not familiar with Organic Transition, it's essentially a 3-year marathon for a conventional farmer to transition to organic. They're using new inputs, finding new resources, developing new peer-to-peer networks. They may see yield drops, and they can't use that organic label during those 3 years, which can be quite challenging if they need that premium or are trying to connect with a certain buyer. So Csuf has a 3-prong approach to support farmers ready to go organic. The first approach is financial assistance. Sometimes you just need a little bit of money in the pocket to weather those 3 years. The second approach is education and training. Keep in mind, for some of these producers who are going organic, this is the first time they're really developing a soil health plan, a nitrogen budgeting plan, really learning how to create a successful organic system. And then the third prong of our 3-prong approach is market readiness. The most successful transitions happen when the producer has a market at the end of the transition, whether that's a contract, maybe filling a deficit in the supply chain, or even a unique direct-to-consumer model. So our 3-prong approach, financial resources, education and training, and market readiness. We put this approach to the test last year, and it proved wildly successful. We partnered with Anheuser-Busch to fund and support the transition of 100 farmers to organic. That's collectively 100,000 acres transitioning to organic. Truly a bright spot in 2020. We are passionate about moving the needle and advancing organic farmland in the United States. So we want to keep this program going, and we're currently seeking new partners. We're seeking folks who share our value of advancing organic. And we're not just talking about California, we're talking about anywhere in the United States where farmers are ready to make that transition. Great partners would include retailers and restaurants, consumer-facing brands, buyers, anyone looking to shore up their supply chain, or perhaps have a special interest in helping those supply chains who really need a boost, such as domestic organic cotton. So please stay tuned and stay in touch as we continue to evolve this exciting transition program. Okay, so we talked about certification, we talked on our policy and advocacy work, as well as our organic transition work. And now it's time to hear from you. This is the question and answer part of the event. This is a true Csuf tradition, and I now invite you to drop us some questions in the chat box, and we will do our best to answer them as they come through. One topic that may be of interest is the organic cannabis program. Now, a lot of people say, well, cannabis is federally illegal, so how can you certify it as organic? And that's correct. Cannabis is not eligible for USDA organic certification. However, the state of California has actually created a program that mirrors the national organic program. So that's what we're gearing up to do. That program launches this year, and we think we can offer a lot of integrity to that program. So one question that has come up is, how will Csuf support a more diverse and equitable organic movement? Such a fabulous question. We are actually working right now with Nikki Silvestri of Soil and Shadow, a consultant, to conduct an equity assessment of Csuf. We're surveying our staff, our board members, donors, key partners, and doing a pulse check and trying to understand where we are and where we need to go. And from there, we'll be able to develop short, mid, and long-term initiatives. I would say one area of CCOF's work that we're particularly proud of, we've invested a lot of heart and soul and resources into, is our Spanish services. So we offer Spanish services which helps broaden and diversify our pool of organic producers, especially farm workers who are on the path to farm ownership. Additionally, we also have some fee waiver programs. So if you are a farmer of color or know of somebody who is interested in going organic, absolutely be in touch. We have a robust way to support you and make it as affordable and accessible as possible. So next question coming through is, what are our thoughts on regenerative organic and organic certification? Love this question. Regenerative agriculture is a sister movement to organic. Like organic, they are focused on soil health practices, such as long-established organic practices of cover crops and crop rotation. Of course, regenerative has much more of a focus on no-till or low-till, although keep in mind for diversified produce farms, no-till and low-till is not really an accessible option at this point. But I see them as sister movements, and we're pretty excited that Rodale and other partners like Patagonia had the foresight to create a regenerative organic certification program. For us, certification is the gold standard. It's how we ensure transparency and integrity to the consumer. So we really want to see standards and enforcement of that term regenerative and see it as an opportunity to really buttress and support what organic producers have been working on for decades. So excited to have more interest and more partners in advancing organic practices together. Does CCOF plan to do some low contact, COVID-safe inspections this year? We are doing on-site inspections for new parcels, additional parcels, because we feel like those are of the greater risk and we want to be on site to inspect those with safety precautions. We also know that more and more vaccines are becoming available to agricultural workers, and our inspectors are frontline workers, so we're hopeful that they'll be able to, if they choose, get a vaccine and have more security in traveling. But until we have a better idea of the safety and can make sure that we are following all the county, state, federal guidelines, we'll continue to conduct virtual or hybrid inspections. But I'm hopeful things will begin opening and getting back into the groove in the second half of the year. So we talked a little bit about cannabis. I have had one question about how does cannabis align with organic values? You know, does that align with who organic is? And I would say absolutely, because cannabis is another crop that has the potential, if not grown correctly, to contaminate our soil and our water and our air. So as this burgeoning crop emerges in California and beyond, it's really important that we can bring integrity to that production. I would also say for the medical community, I think it's also especially important that they have that kind of oversight and support of the organic community. So more about cannabis certification, what are the requirements for growers? It's going to be a lot like the National Organic Program. So the program will roll out this year. We'll be putting out a lot of communications about it. We may even be able to host a webinar and an information session, but just know it's going to be a lot like the National Organic Program. Updates on fallout from the decertification, and do not use letters for weed slayer. You know, unfortunately, I don't think I have the most recent information on this issue, but we'll put together a blog for the CCOF e-news and we'll get that sent out in the next week or so that we're responsive to that question. What do we say to people critical of CCOF certification efforts outside of California? CCOF's vision is a world where organic is the norm. We believe everybody should have the right to farm, grow, process, eat, sell organically. So that means that we really have to expand our services to meet the needs of other producers. Especially, we've noticed some smaller certifiers going out of business in the last few years, and we really jumped to try to make the transition to a new certifier as easy and seamless as possible for those producers who may have been relying on another certifier. But in general, we're really proud of our expansion. We're really cautious. We want to make sure that we are accountable to our current membership and not growing at a rate that we can't sustain. How do we plan on getting more organic food into the public education system? So there is an incredible coalition of partners working right now to bring organic food to schools. And this is such an important campaign for a lot of different reasons. Of course we want our kids to have fresh fruits and vegetables, but only if those fresh fruits and vegetables are grown in a way that is not contaminating the soil, the water, and the air that kids are growing, living, and playing in, especially children who live near agricultural communities. So we really see a great opportunity to expand education and opportunity to eat organic at schools. It also can be a great market expansion for producers. There's a lot of interest in securing local organic foods for schools. Is there a plan to promote Csuf branding on packaging, either through retail or to consumers? Wow, this is such a great question. It's been interesting since organic has become a federal program. I think there's been less focus on the certifier brand and more on the USDA organic brand at large. And of course, when we promote organic, that has the added benefit of promoting Csuf and the work we do. We're gearing up right now to really dig into strategic communications. Phil mentioned that we are working on strategic planning, and strategic communications is a key focus area, including consumer education. What is our social media presence? What is our web and online presence? What are our events and formats? How are we bringing together folks who may not be immediately in the organic community, but are absolutely necessary partners, like healthcare partners or consumer publications? There's so many opportunities. So really excited. Look for some changes coming in how we communicate and promote organic and Csuf in the next year or so. Is growing in Substrate eligible for certification for organic? Yes, as long as they meet the organic standards. So this question is referring to a container system that rather than growing in the soil, they're growing in a substrate system. And these are eligible for certification as long as they're meeting the standards. And we scrutinize them the same way we scrutinize any organic producer. Are they maintaining and improving the soil in and around their container systems? Are they fostering biodiversity with beneficials and integrated pest management practices? Are they cycling nutrients, creating their own compost, cultivating microbial activity, and of course using all organic inputs? So it is substrate growing is allowed as long as the substrate is approved for use in organic and you're meeting all the other guidelines. Challenges and opportunities with the appointment of Tom Vilsack. Opportunity. I suspect that Tom Vilsack will be a more stable leader of the USDA than we've experienced in the last few years. I think in particular for folks with international business, they're welcoming of a more stable approach to international trade in agriculture. But I think the real challenge and what we should be really looking for is his commitment to disadvantaged producers. And if he'll really walk the walk of supporting and uplifting disadvantaged producers and organic producers as well. A lot about agriculture's impacts on water quality. How do Csuf certified farms compare to conventional farms with respect to water quality? And would protecting water quality be a part of social justice certification? Social justice certification would more look at the wages, break periods, feeling safe and inclusive, so less about the outcomes of production. But absolutely, water quality is a key part of an organic system plan. So organic soils, because they're healthier soils, actually retain water, have better water holding capacity. So this can not only help reduce water consumption. I was talking to a farmer in Southern California who has been working so long on his soil health, he's reduced his water consumption by 20% and actually comes in under the state's allocation of water usage for his farm. But additionally, because soils are better at holding water, there's less runoff, and so less potential damage to safe drinking water. And of course, organic producers aren't using the cancer-causing pesticides and inputs that can be really toxic and pose risk to communities' drinking water. Okay, maybe one more question if there is one. Got a lot of more coming in. Grass-fed. The grass-fed program is organic grass-fed, so organic certification is a baseline, and then if you're a livestock producer, we can do a grass-fed in addition to that, and we have more information on our website. There's a question about domestic organic cotton, and I truly am not an expert in cotton. We do certify several organic cotton farms, and really the best resource on organic cotton right now would be the Organic Trade Association's Organic Cotton and Fiber Council. And the Organic Center actually just hosted a webinar and released a report about organic cotton. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Maybe somebody from CCOF could drop some of that info into the chat box. And then expectations of the new administration in terms of expansion of organics. I think the opportunities are endless. I think that organic promotes health equity, helps mitigate the impacts of climate change, and has an incredible economic opportunity for producers of all different types across the United States. So I really only see a win-win for the administration in going all in on organic. And we'll certainly be at the table with the Organic Trade Association and our other partners making the case for organic. That wraps up our question and answer forum. If you didn't get your question answered, email us at ccof@ccof.org and we'll absolutely get you an answer. So thanks so much for your questions. I really learned so much when I'm in conversation with you all. Okay. So before we take a break and then get into the yummier portion of today's events, I have an invitation to extend to you. I'd like to invite you to join me as a financial supporter of future organic farmers. Did you know that one of the top barriers to youth entering careers in agriculture is the cost of education? According to the National Young Farmers Coalition, a top barrier to entering a career in agriculture is the cost of education. So CCOF Future Organic Farmers is breaking down that barrier by providing direct $5,000 grants to students who need it most. College students, vocational students, even high school FFA students. In fact, our keynote speaker, David Antonio Robles, is a two-time recipient of the Future Organic Farmers Fund. And as you'll soon see, not only is he flourishing in his organic career, but now he's helping to empower the next generation, the youth coming up from under him. I'm so passionate about this program. I'm on the younger end of the organic spectrum, and I feel this immense responsibility, this passion for carrying organic principles, the legacy of organic founders, CCOF founders, well into the future. And I've seen how this fund can be just the nudge that a young person, a student needs to really go all in on a career in organic. So I made my donation today, and I'd love to invite you to make your donation too. We're gonna drop a link in the chat box. You can click there. There's a donate now button, really easy and simple. Let's take advantage of all being at our computers and make our 2021 contribution. 100% of what you donate today, 100% goes directly into this fund. We don't take any administration fee. We designed this program so that we're a conduit to getting your financial resources to the students who need it most. So, I know not all of us can donate today, but that's okay. A lot of us have had a tough year. The rest of us, those who can, we will dig deeper and do whatever we can. Any amount counts. We don't take any admin fee, so 100% of what you donate adds up. If you donate $100, that's $100 in a future organic farmer's pocket. So I really encourage you, if you have the resources, to make your annual contribution today. Okay. As you're wrapping up your donation, grabbing your credit card, whatever you need to do, I'm just going to recap because we've had a big morning together. We started the day with gratitude for our visionary donors of the Csuf Foundation. We set the intention to nourish ourselves. We heard from our board chair, LaRocca, how Csuf is doing. And yes, we're weathering the storms quite well. And I shared some key Csuf updates and did my best to answer your questions. And hopefully we've all made our future organic farmer donation. All right. Now we're going to pause and take a really brief break. But you're not going to want to go too far because when we come back, we're going to be enjoying some enchiladas and big conversation about the future of organic and a more just food system. So I'll see you right back here on the screen at 12 o'clock. Thank you.